Hey YouTube, what's up? Last week I saw a meme on Facebook that said, how was it worded? The biggest mistake you can make as a gardener is to think that you are in control. And my oh my, no truer words have ever been spoken. I got some bad news this morning. I came down this morning and sat on the patio, had my morning breakfast beverage, and was sitting there, looked at one of my tomato plants, and lo and behold, I got my first big problem. And that is, I found that two of my tomatoes on this one plant have the beginning of some blossom and rot. Larger fruit on the bottom of the plant doesn't have any sign of the blossom and rot. Yeah, so I took to YouTube to see what I could do about it. I don't recall ever having to deal with it, um, so consequently I didn't know how to handle it. So according to what I saw from about, I don't know, 4 or 5 different videos, it could be caused by any number of things, but it is usually has something to do with your watering situation. Either you're overwatering it, maybe underwatering it, or inconsistently watering it, or the plant is having a problem accessing the calcium through the roots. So if you need to do like an emergency fix, there's a couple things you could do. There's like a Tums fix where you will put, I think it's 1 Tums per every gallon of water, and have it dissolve in there and spray it on the foliage of your plants. Or you could use lime and gypsum, and there was 2 or 3 other things, but they weren't really like solutions that I was interested in using. I went with the calcium pill solution because I had some calcium carbonate pills just in the cabinet, medicine cabinet, and the Walgreens brand, nothing special. And so I have a 2-gallon watering can, so I wound up crushing 2 calcium pills and putting them into my watering can, and then filling the watering can and leaving it for a little bit and shaking it up and making sure that the pills are good and dissolved. Now, I didn't think that I would have any watering issues because I heavily mulched my plants, and so I haven't at this point been watering them but once a week, and that's only because I've been wanting to give them the fish emulsion fertilizer once a week, and that was working. But then last week we went on vacation, and when I got back, I did check the plants. I used my watering meter to make sure that they were watered good, and they weren't great, but they weren't dry by any means. So I thought, okay, it's fine. I'll just go on about how I've been doing. Well, I never did get around to watering with the fish emulsion that Sunday. I do it weekly, like I said. And so today, here we are on Saturday, it's 4th of July, and when I came down, I saw that, and I thought to myself, man, I should have went ahead and did that watering like I normally would, but I was too lazy, and I didn't do it. That's my fault. surprisingly, the problem isn't happening on all of the plants, and it's not even happening on all the fruit on that one plant. So I think this is something that I can fix. Like I said, I'm gonna use the crushed calcium pills and some water and hope for the best. Now, I still plan on tomorrow on Sunday watering the plants down with the fish emulsion and water as the fertilizer or whatever, because I do that weekly, and that seemed to be working. You know, it's just the worst, because, you know, I was thinking to myself, I put all this work into it. You know, I started it indoors months ago. I took good care of them. I got them transplanted. They transplanted beautifully. I mean, I've been doing all this care and everything and put all this time into it and all this energy, only to have the plant go bad on me. So I'm really praying that this calcium pill thing works. And part of the reason why I think it might have to do with the watering as well is because we have been having 90-degree weather for, I don't know, almost a week straight now. And even though the plants, like I said, weren't bone dry by any means, I think that I needed to up my watering during this time. And with me not being here last week, in order to do that, maybe, you know, some of the plants were affected differently, namely this plant. And the plant that's being affected is a beefsteak tomato. Now, I have one other beefsteak tomato growing over there, and that one doesn't have any signs of stress. There's no curling of the leaves, there's no blossom end rot. I honestly don't know why it's just this one, and I'm glad that it's just this one, but I'm gonna need y'all. Say a prayer for me, say a prayer for my plant. I want it to survive, and I'm gonna give this a try. Let's see what happens. So, wish me luck. Another problem that I spotted was that I have a leaf miner or leaf miners. I'm pretty sure that's what this pattern is from, but I don't really know that I should care, since I'm not actually planning on eating these. I'm just letting these go to seed so that I can harvest the seeds. These are the seed pods once they dry, and I could replant this red giant mustard in the fall time. But yeah, pretty sure this is indicative of leaf miners. I am gonna do some research real quick to make sure that, you know, I don't need to be worried about that. The only thing I plan on doing is separating this plant from the rest of them. I don't know how they travel, but I'm sure this planter is too close to these plants. So I'm gonna move this one away from everything else and hope it stays alive so I can harvest these seeds, because I gotta tell you, that Asian giant red mustard is so good. It's garlicky and wonderful. But I don't want this stuff to spread, especially since I have some mustards, the very same mustards right next to it. So I have one plant right there and another plant over here. And the last problem I found today is I got my plant rotated, with my planter rotated with my pepper plants in it. And these were the Quadratas that were doing really good. I wanted to rotate the plant because I'm not getting any fruit production on the other three plants in this planter. Well, now I notice that I have something eating the leaves on this plant at least, and down here this one's demolished. Look at that. I don't know what that's due to. I'm not seeing anything on the back of the leaves. So I'm gonna use the Sevin powder on these and hope that that will deter whatever it is that's hungry and going to town on my plant here. Aside from that though, at least it is flowering, so maybe, you know, not too much damage has been done. We shall see.